Welcome back for our fourth episode of my adventures as an Ixar monk. Now, in the last adventure, we were in the state of unrest, and here I am just running back after the group broke apart. Normally, people will just origin out, which is an ability that you get once reaching, I believe, level 5, and it takes you back to your home city. It's not anything like you can bind somewhere and your origin will change. It's just, it'll always take you back to your home city. Now, on my way back, I was going along the coast to kind of dodge any dwarven guards because, you know, I'm an Ixar, so kill on sight for every faction. And I decided to kill some of these Aqua Goblin Marauders to see what kind of faction that they gave. And I'm not too certain which factions these are, but I believe they have to do with the dwarves here in Caladim. But I killed quite a few of them on my way to the docks just to use the translocator. In the future, I may decide to do some reputation guides for the Ixar monks. I know there's a lot of helpful websites for how to become non-KOS or kill on sight by certain factions. I don't believe that it's available for all factions to be non-KOS, but you can get quite a few of them to where you can actually use some of the main cities to bank in without having to, you know, run all the way back to Cabalus, which is what this adventure is more or less about. Instead, like I stated earlier, instead of using the origin, I just decided to run back and see what kind of things I would run into, and because there's quite a bit of Canark that I didn't get to look at, and so I just decided on this day I was just going to take a look around and see what I could find. After I cleared through the camp, I just kind of noticed that all the goblins had already been killed, and it was getting kind of late too, so I didn't want to spend too much time waiting on respawns, and I was hoping that would have been a druid there, so I could have got a Spirit of the Wolf and moved a bit faster, but it turned out that wasn't a druid or a ranger. But I decided that I would try to swim too to raise my swimming ability, because Ixars do start off with I believe 100 swim, but it had been a few levels since I had been in any water, so decided to just kind of give it a little bit of a skill up. And another thing too is there won't be any guards or anything in the water, so good chance of not getting killed by like a high level creature. Yeah, it's pretty good too, because I kept getting the skill ups, so it definitely was beneficial for me to be out there swimming in the water. I could tell I was coming up on the docks up ahead, so I knew I was gonna have to get ready to sneak up there, and I was being really cautious. I was trying to check each creature, each dwarf that was up there, to see if they would attack me on sight or not. As I got closer, I was trying to see if I could toggle the translocator options by just hailing, but unfortunately it looked like I was too much of a distance away. So that only left one other option. Head to shore. And luckily not get aggroed. But cue the sneaking music. Just trying to con him, see how he'd react to me. But unfortunately, if you're behind them and you have sneak going, they're going to be indifferent. So as you can see there, when I con it again as I'm in front of it, it scowls ready to attack. So definitely would have messed me up. So that translocator ended up taking me to the Timorius Deep, and it's quite a big zone, quite a lot of water. But I'll revisit it again when I do the Ixar Shackle quests. But for now, trying to get back over to Kabbalist still, so hitching a ride to the Fiornia Vi. And one of the things that I learned here was just I had to be real careful with teleporting in, especially in docks, and it's a good thing that I had worked up my feigned death, and you'll see why. Yeah, that guard in like a couple hits took me down to nearly half my health. So I definitely was not wanting to tangle with him, and I needed to get off of these docks. But once you feign death, you can lay there as long as you want. But it's kind of hard to worm your way out, which is what I was doing there. Just trying to inch my way away from him, and ended up having to use mend and just kind of keep flopping my way. I was afraid he was going to kill me here, but ended up getting lucky, and he ends up moseying a bit away from me. And I was just lucky he didn't come back after me. And I, for whatever reason, had sneak on. I think just to lower the aggro radius, but I think those guards are all sight based. Now, instead of contending with any more like elves or anything, I just decided to jump in the water and get off those docks and make my way to the shore. Which, again, get that swim time in, get that swimming skill up. Not that you really need it, but it's a good thing to have, and I knew in the future I'd need it. Definitely in the Timorius Deep, because there's quite a bit of water, and there's a monk quest giver that's out on an island, so you need to take that skill and get it as high as possible. Finally made it to shore again, and the passive regen had my health up a little bit, and just kind of on the lookout because, like I said, this is my first time experiencing Kunarg from the TLP. I'm only level 28, so definitely watching out for anything that'll get a hold of me. And don't want to aggro anything that's, not blue or lower, light blue or lower. And I was afraid that if I died, I'd end up have to running all the way back from the common lands. But I'm pretty sure at this point I would have just hit Origin if I had died. And not something that I wanted to have happen with having gotten through everything that I've gotten through so far. I mean, on that dock. And then I get ensnared by, I think it was a Fey Drake or some sort of fairy Drake, and eventually get out of that route and on my way again. And so close to Kabbalist now, I'm just like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And then out of nowhere, this pilgrim comes up on my heels and feign death again. Save me yet again. It's a wonderful tool to have in the monk's toolkit. That last Kabbalist. Never thought I'd say I was happy to see that place again. But definitely was, because this was going to be the only paint that I could use since, XRs are hated by everybody. Which is kind of the fun and part of the challenge. And I don't know, I just kind of decided to do it the hard way instead of using Origin. And finally made it back. And I wanted to pick up some boots from my bank that I had gathered on one of my alts before, and see if they were, you know, I think they were rated better, at least on the EQitems.com site. And I'll show you what that item, those boots are here in a second once I locate them. And here I am just comparing what I had on, which are the Woos fighting slippers, and then the Cobalt hide boots, which offer 10 HP and a little bit more AC and 1 extra agility, but they weigh a little bit more. So I just needed to make sure that it was more beneficial to have the Cobalt hide boots versus the Woos slippers, and I just went ahead and went with the 10 extra HP overall. I was pretty lacking on some bag space, so I ended up going through and selling everything I had for, you know, adventuring and unrest. And I didn't really pick up as much as I could have, because the best bags that I had at the time were the Shaman medicine bags, which give you a 10% weight reduction. Well, that's going to be all for this episode. Hope you enjoyed watching. This one wasn't as thrilling, but definitely fun. And like always, see you in the next one.